LaBronx, and yes, I'm vegan, so glad you noticed. I wanted to welcome you to my Kickstarter page. Today, I'm hoping to show you a few simple recipes that you can make yourself at home. Recipes that I'm hoping to show you on my soon-to-be vegan drag queen cooking show on the internet. I need your help. I need you to help me raise funds for all the equipment necessary to produce such a large-scale show. Today I'm going to show you how to make two things. The first, one of my favorites, is seitan. Now seitan is a meat. Yes, I did say meat. There are vegan meats out there, and it's made out of wheat gluten. Probably wondering what gluten is. Gluten is the protein from wheat. Okay? So glad we cleared that up. What I have here is a little more than 3 cups of gluten measured out. So I'm just going to add that to a large mixing bowl. Here we go. Boop. And to our gluten, we are going to add nutritional yeast. This is about 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast measured out. Boop. And we are going to add spices. Now, what you want to do is add 3 tablespoons of spices, your choice of spices. I'm going for more of a Mexican feel. So what I've got here is dried cilantro, garlic powder, cumin, my personal favorite, and chili powder. These are all mixed out, okay? If you'd like your seitan to have a different flavor combination, you could try garlic, onion, and ginger for more of an Asian kind of taste, or basil, oregano, sage, and rosemary for more of an Italian taste. Alright, so I've got my flour and my yeast and my spices in a large bowl. Now before I add my liquids, I'm going to go ahead and stir that up so that all the taste is evenly dispersed. We've got our basic gluten and spices and yeast set aside in a bowl. Now I'm going to add my ½ cup of tamari. Okay, that's a ½ cup of tamari. And now I'm going to add to that 2½ cups of water. Okay, there's 1 cup, 2 cups, and a half. Alright, so I'm going to add my liquids, my watered down tamari, to my gluten while stirring. The difference between gluten and flour, when you're making flour dough, it's very stretchy and elastic, and it's really easy to get your hair in your mouth. It's really easy to pull off a piece of dough. I like to say that when you're cooking with seitan, it's kind of almost got the consistency of human flesh. So you're trying to grab a piece of dough and pull it off, and it's like pulling this. It's really difficult. That's why, after we have this made into a ball of dough, we're going to use scissors to separate it. So go ahead and start mixing your liquids together with that dough, and you're going to see that you're going to get to a point where it becomes really difficult to mix it any further with a spoon. So at this point, you are going to have to just sully your own 2 hands. So we're just going to reach our hands right into the bowl. I think I look incredibly sexy doing this. Just want to knead the dough like your life depended on it. Because it does. Okay? And when I get to the point that I can no longer knead this with my hands, I'm just about there. So right now, you see what I've got here. That doesn't look too appetizing to you. This looks so delicious to me. And it's got a really tough texture. So this is about ready to set aside. We're going to set this aside for a moment. There we go. And now we're going to prepare our vegetable stock. What I like to do is keep vegetable bouillon cubes on hand because then I use just as much as I need and I don't need to open a container of broth that's going to go bad after a while. So I'm going to crumble that up, 2 cubes, and then I'm going to add 4 cups of water. Each cube of vegetable bouillon makes about 2 cups of broth when you add your water. So now I'm going to measure 4 cups of water, and I'm going to add that to the cubes of bouillon, and I'm going to stir that together to make vegetable broth. There we go. I'm going to add a ½ cup of tamari, the same stuff that we added to the dough. And I'm going to add another 3 tablespoons of spices. Again, we've got cumin, cilantro, garlic powder, and chili powder. And we're going to stir that up, and that's going to make, oh, that's a delicious smelling broth. So the next step, we are going to separate our dough into small, small little pieces. Now it's really hard to pull those pieces off, so what I like to do is take a pair of scissors and just cut off little chunks of meat. And this is going to take you a little while. I really recommend that you make these little chunks fairly small. I would say about the size of, I don't know, what would you call that? About the size of baby carrots. And when this cooks, it's going to really plump up. It's going to get really quite big. So you don't want to have these pieces too big. I also think they cook a little better if you make them smaller. So we're going to continue to cut that. And another thing that I would like to say to my public, aside from thank you for watching if you've made it this far, so thoughtful of you, don't feel the need to cut this up into such small pieces. You know, some people will just take the whole ball of seitan and just plunk it in the stove and cook it like you would cook a roast, and then just trim pieces off of it once it's been cooked. So our seitan is just about cut up into small chunks. So now what we're going to do is we're going to transfer this to the stovetop, and we're going to cook it. I'm just going to go ahead and stir everything in. Don't worry if your seitan pieces are sticking together. Looks like they're clinging together for dear life right now. When they start to cook, they will separate. You can trust that if you cut it up with scissors, they will remain separated. It won't be too hard to pull them apart once you've cooked it. So that is just about ready. We are going to cover this and put it on the stove anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. So, right now I've got this over a high heat. I'm going to bring this to a boil, and then once it's in a boil, I'm going to leave it simmer for about 45 minutes, and then we'll check back in on our seitan. So now that my seitan is finished cooking, and it looks something like this. So nice big chunks of really yummy looking meat. So now that that's finished cooking, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my seitan out with tongs and transfer it to this strainer. I put all my seitan in there. And I'm going to press out any of the leftover juice. And I'm going to keep that juice because I'm going to use it later. Now this seitan is not giving me a lot of juice because I really didn't make a lot of broth. So if you're following this recipe exactly, you might want to double the broth and use twice as much broth so you have a nice meaty sauce left over afterwards. Okay. So now for dinner, what we've got is some strained fusilli pasta, and we went ahead and cut up some seitan. And now I'm going to take the sauce that we've made. This sauce that you're looking at here is basically some green peas, leftover broth from the seitan and almond cream that we made fresh from almonds. And it's thickened up with a little bit of arrowroot starch. So all I'm going to do is pour my sauce over my pasta. That looks so good already. I'm going to add several large pieces of seitan, all chopped up, and give that a good stir. And dinner is served. How does that look? All right, let's check in on dinner and see how we did. All right, and oh, that's good. Until next time, I'm Honey LaBronx, and thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you soon.